Welcome to Decoding Everything, where we unravel the mysteries of everyday life. And today we are tackling a very hot topic, right from your kitchen. Have you ever fried up a delicious batch of crispy chicken and then stared at the leftover oil, wondering if you could use it again for another meal? This common kitchen dilemma of whether it's safe to reuse cooking oil is something that many of us have pondered while trying to be both frugal and environmentally conscious. The allure of saving a perfectly good-looking pot of oil is strong, but there are some very important health and safety considerations that you absolutely need to know about. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into the science behind reusing cooking oil, exploring the potential risks and providing you with practical tips for doing it safely. So before you pour that used oil down the drain or back into its original bottle, let's take a moment to understand what really happens when you heat oil repeatedly. At a microscopic level, cooking oil is made up of fatty acids, and when you expose it to high temperatures, these fatty acids begin to break down and undergo chemical changes. This process is known as thermal degradation, and it's the primary reason why reusing cooking oil can be a tricky and potentially hazardous endeavor, if not handled with care. One of the most significant concerns with reusing oil is the formation of harmful compounds, including free radicals, which are highly reactive molecules that can cause cellular damage. These free radicals are linked to a host of health problems, from premature aging and inflammation to more serious conditions like heart disease and even certain types of cancer. In addition to free radicals, reheating oil can also lead to the creation of aldehydes, which are toxic compounds that have been associated with various long-term health issues. The more times you reuse a batch of oil, the higher the concentration of these harmful substances becomes, turning a seemingly harmless kitchen shortcut into a potential health risk. Another critical factor to consider is the smoke point of the oil, which is the temperature at which it begins to smoke and break down, releasing a bluish haze into the air. Each time you heat oil, its smoke point gets progressively lower, meaning it will start to degrade at a much cooler temperature than when it was fresh from the bottle. Once an oil surpasses its smoke point, it not only releases a foul odor and acrid taste, but also creates a significant fire hazard in your kitchen, which is a serious safety concern. The fumes that are released from smoking oil can also be harmful to inhale, as they contain acrolein, a chemical that can cause irritation to your eyes and respiratory system. So while the idea of a never-ending bottle of frying oil might sound appealing, the reality is that each use pushes the oil closer to its breaking point, both chemically and physically. However, it's not all doom and gloom, and with the right knowledge and techniques, you can safely reuse cooking oil a limited number of times without compromising your health. The first and most crucial step is to let the used oil cool down completely after you've finished cooking, as attempting to handle hot oil can lead to severe burns. Once the oil has reached a safe temperature, you'll need to strain it to remove any lingering food particles, as these can accelerate the oil's degradation and cause it to spoil. A fine mesh sieve is a good starting point, but for an even cleaner result, you can use a coffee filter or a few layers of cheesecloth to catch even the tiniest crumbs. After straining, the next step is to store the oil properly, and this means keeping it in an airtight container to protect it from exposure to oxygen, which can cause it to go rancid. Light and heat are also enemies of cooking oil, so it's best to store your reused oil in a cool, dark place, like a pantry or a cupboard, away from direct sunlight. A general rule of thumb is to reuse oil no more than 1 or 2 times, as this helps to minimize the accumulation of those harmful compounds we talked about earlier. It's also important to avoid mixing different types of oil, as each has its own unique chemical composition and smoke point, and combining them can lead to unpredictable results. Your senses are your most reliable guide when it comes to determining if your reused oil is still safe to use. So don't be afraid to give it a good look and sniff. If the oil appears cloudy, has developed a dark color, or has a thick, syrupy consistency, it's a clear sign that it has gone bad and should be discarded immediately. A rancid or off smell is another major red flag. And if your oil smells anything other than neutral, it's best to err on the side of caution and throw it out. Foaming is another indicator that the oil has broken down. So if you notice an excessive amount of foam on the surface when you heat it up, it's time to retire that batch.
When
it comes to choosing the best oils for reusing, those with a high smoke point are your most reliable options, as they are more stable at high cooking temperatures. Peanut oil, canola oil, and vegetable oil are all excellent choices for deep frying, and are generally more forgiving when it comes to being reused a couple of times. On the other hand, oils with low smoke points, such as extra virgin olive oil and flaxseed oil, are not well suited for high heat cooking and should not be reused. These delicate oils are better reserved for salad dressings, drizzling over finished dishes, or light sautéing to preserve their flavor and nutritional benefits. So, to recap the key takeaways, reusing cooking oil can be a safe and economical practice if you are mindful of the potential risks and follow the proper procedures. Always let the oil cool completely before handling it, and then strain it thoroughly to remove any food debris that could accelerate its spoilage and degradation process. Store your strained oil in an airtight container in a cool, dark place to protect it from light, heat, and oxygen, which are the main culprits behind oil going rancid. Trust your senses to tell you when it's time to discard the oil, and remember that a cloudy appearance, a bad smell, or a foamy texture are all signs of spoilage. Choose oils with a high smoke point for frying and reusing. And remember that even with the best practices, it's wise to limit reuse to only 1 or 2 times. By following these simple guidelines, you can enjoy the cost-saving benefits of reusing cooking oil while minimizing the potential health risks and ensuring your food is both delicious and safe. For more insightful tips and in-depth explorations that help you decode the complexities of the world around you, be sure to subscribe to our channel, Decoding Everything.